Hello, this is Professor Kim Nelson with the Jewelry Design Department at FIT, the Fashion Institute of Technology, doing another video on our series of videos for modeling in Rhino, although this is technically for a design course, but we're using Rhino to demonstrate. We're discussing in class doing basic sketching of top views of rings, and since many of you are brand new to the vocabulary of jewelry design, I thought I should clarify what that means. Okay? This is your ring here, or it's actually my ring, but a ring. The portion that you see here, that does not include the basket setting that's holding that center stone. This whole piece here is loosely called the shank. Now, when we get into more technical terminology for wire work rings and whatnot, we'll break that definition down further, but for now that will suffice. The shank is the part that holds the ring on your finger. The head is the part that holds the main stone. These accent stones are considered to be part of the shank. This is a 3/4 view. It allows you to rotate and look at the ring from all angles. But when we design jewelry, it's very hard to sketch doing 3/4 views. First, because it requires a certain amount of facility with drawing innately, because you have to have a good natural sense or technical understanding of perspective. And secondly, because many designs just are not served well by a 3/4 view. This would be one. This is called a bypass ring. When you have a shank treatment that seems to snake through the head, comes from this side, and then you see the same thing coming from the opposite side over here. That is a bypass. And bypass shanks are very hard to draw in 3/4 view, because you see this, and unless you know the ring, you don't know what's going on over here. It looks like this piece is missing. The assumption is usually that jewelry is symmetrical, and since you don't see a lump here corresponding to this, you have no idea what's going on over there. And it almost doesn't matter which view I draw it from. If I draw it from here, this 3/4 view, you would start to get a sense, but it still wouldn't be clear, and this would be very difficult to draw freehand. Okay? So when we're sketching in jewelry, we rarely sketch rings in 3/4 view. We normally sketch them in top view, which would be right here. Okay? You could also sketch a ring from the front. We say front view on a ring, we mean looking through the ring bore. Ring bore is what we call this opening for the finger. You could also sketch it from the side view. Okay. Side, let's go back to the top. Top, front, and side are what we would call orthographic views. And we'll talk more about orthographic projection next week. But in Rhino, to get these flat on, we actually have viewports assigned to them. So I will go ahead and set it up to the normal 4 viewport layout. And I'll shade all the views. Don't know why. There we go. It's not hearing me hit the Alt key, so it keeps saving the file. And I'm going to make these all fit. To make everything fit in Rhino, you pick the front view, the largest view on a ring, normally. And you go to Set View tab, Zoom selected, and then type in the command line sync, SYN, and synchronized views will come right up. If you do that, the ring will pretty much zoom to fit in the 3 orthographic views. The perspective view is its own animal. So now going back to the larger view, while I can rotate like so to give the appearance of an orthographic view, true orthographic views in Rhino are looking straight on mathematically at that object. The camera, the digital camera, is looking straight at it, like so. Sorry about that. Just didn't want to keep hitting that view accidentally. So again, top, front, side. Those are your 3 orthographic views, and this would be your 3/4 view. So when I say we normally sketch jewelry from the top view in jewelry design, this is what I would mean. We would draw this. The problem with this is that details are falling away. You can actually see here that this stone is quite round here. And it becomes quite elliptical there. I can turn off the shank and you can see it more clearly. This is not as round as this is because it's falling away and it's becoming foreshortened in perspective. You also can't get a good sense of what the taper of the shank is, the overall flow. Top views are often not going to give you as much information as you would like, a standard top view. Okay? So what I often enlist is a flattened top view. In a flattened top view, I cut the shank at the bottom and I spread the shank, the ring out flat, effectively giving you something like this. This is still arched because I didn't go through the trouble to flatten it. But when we're drawing it, this would not be arched. This would be flat as well. Basically taking the whole ring from being up on the round like this, splitting it at the bottom, and flattening the sides out. What you'll see once we do that is that you get a much clearer sense of how the ring tapers and flows. In fact, from this flattened top view, you can actually get a lot of information about the side view. You get that same sense of flow and taper. When you're drawing a flattened top view, it's important that the ends here and here line up, they match, because those ends depict this seam right here. And as you can see, that seam lines up. They have to be smooth there. So it's important when you draw a flattened top view that your 2 ends match. Okay. Now, that's really enough for what we're doing this week. However, I'm soon going to be discussing flattened front views with you. And I'm just going to go ahead and synchronize up the viewports again. Okay. So, going back into our orthographic views, the flat top looking straight down looks like this. Okay. A flattened front view does the same thing. It flattens the shank. As I said, this bottom piece wouldn't be arched. And what it does is it'll allow you to see the elevations in the ring, to see how it rises and falls, how thick it is here, how thick it is here. You know, it'll help you plan your elevations, how much the stone is sitting above the rest of the shank, which will all translate very nicely when you bend the ring back around again. But for this assignment, the sketching assignment, what I wanted you to do was basically split open those shanks on your designs and flatten the ring out. So when you sketch the ring, you get this effect, or that effect. And this is very helpful because I find this to be the way to get the most information on a ring design as quickly as possible. Okay? When I'm sketching professionally, I'll often include this and a regular front view, just so clients can see elevations and whatnot. I rarely provide a side view because the side view information is found here. Now, when you're doing finished work for a client, when you're finishing up and doing the real presentation work, you will need to provide them the standard top view, which is this. When you do your technical drawings, you will give a standard top view like this. But it's much easier to understand your ring when you're sketching it to do it with the flattened format. Okay? And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.